too close for comfort, won't be seen tonight, so we can bring you a very special episode of the Gen X Files. Welcome to the Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today's show is all about
the great outdoors.
That's really not the music to it. It's
No, that was weird, but I would say go appreciate the great outdoors because soon we're not going to be able to.
What?
It's going to get too hot and too rainy and too cold and too everything.
All right.
Yay!
Okay.
Oh man, this was a movie that was on all the time.
Oh yeah.
And maybe that's part of the reason why I love this movie so much, because it was on heavy rotation on like Showtime and Cinemax when I was growing up.
This is my favorite John Candy type of movie. I love Sweet Candy. I love John Candy as the everyman. Nobody did everyman better than John Candy.
He's so relatable.
And likable. And real. The difference between he and Chevy Chase is everything is grounded in reality.
Right.
With Candy. Like I could see all this stuff that happened, maybe not blowing the fur off the bear's butt, but
it's a story.
Up until that point, and the dumb girl's going into the thing. But, it's all relatable, and he's dealing with stuff that happens to him that it's just normal crap, As much as I love the original Vacation and parts of the other Vacation movies, it's all bits.
It's sketches, yeah. It's all just strung together sketches, which are funny and great.
Of course they are. It's a stylized, different kind of comedy, and Chevy Chase is not an everyman. He's not relatable. He's not a good father. He's not a good husband.
No.
He's just a dopey bumbler who stumbles onto stuff and then eventually, I guess, does the right thing. We'll see.
Kind of.
But John Candy is, if I were a father with a family, I would have loved this movie even more. I mean, he relates to people on such a deeply human way.
Yeah.
He is such every single story that you've ever heard about John Candy, anybody ever talking about him, the salt of the earth, the sweetest man in the world, the greatest human being that ever graced this earth. If you want to hear one of the sweetest things ever, listen to Catherine O'Hara's eulogy. It's on YouTube at Candy's funeral. Everybody loved that man. Everybody. Because he was just the sweetest human being. And it comes forth in these types of performances. This is why we wanted to do this month. Because this and
Summer Rental.
This, Summer Rental, and especially, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, because I haven't seen it in a long time. Only the Lonely, which in my opinion is the most human, if I remember correctly, performance of his, because he's so tortured and lonely and wants to be in love and so dedicated to his mother and torn, and he does that well. He's very. I mean, I love my dad, and he was a great dad, but like this, I was like, John Candy is the dad I want. As a young man who constantly was looking for father figures or looking for somebody to, it's why I glommed on to like Rockford and all those guys, even though they're not dads. It's just
but they're like the man, the kind of manly influence.
But the manly morality, they weren't, just guys running around punching people. They had heart, and they had empathy, and they cared about the little guy, and that's Candy. I think the biggest difference between he and Chevy Chase would be if you look at the way he talks to the twins, the Craig twins, versus the way that Chase talked to the little girl in Vacation.
Right.
Both sweet or whatever, but, Chase was doing a bit. And it was like, it was sweet because comparatively to the rest of the goofball movie, it was, the only kind of really emotional part. But Candy, talking to his kids, or these kids, you really felt like he cared.
I mean, Candy was a great actor. I would posit that Candy is a better actor than Chevy Chase.
Of course he is.
Chevy Chase always had that sheen of like you knew he was performing.
Chevy Chase always was Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
He was never not Chevy Chase.
Right.
And even though John Candy was John Candy because of the way he looked, he wasn't John Candy. All the time. He played so many different parts, and especially towards the end of his career when he was really branching out and doing some more dramatic stuff and some more character stuff. It is such a shame, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It's such a shame we were robbed of his third act. Because I think it would have been brilliant, filled with Oscars and filled with incredible performances.
Yeah, he would have. It would have been, and not even. I would say like middle of the second act. Like he had so much more to give, and it just sucks.
Yeah,
like I'm just not. Yeah,
heartbreaking.
We'll talk more about that next week when we finish up.
We'll get to his death.
Yeah,
but anyway, this movie, to me, it's very underrated. It's one of those movies that people forget about. It just kind of goes on the pantheon of 80s comedies because there's so goddamn many of them.
Yeah. I was really shocked, and we'll talk about this later, but like I was shocked by how much the critics did not like this movie.
I get it.
Like that baffles me because it's not. I'm not going into it thinking it's going to be Gone with the Wind.
Right.
Like it's just a little lark that you go and watch and it's fun and then you leave.
It was like going on vacation with John Candy and his family.
Yeah.
And Dan Aykroyd and his family.
Yeah.
And what I loved about it is it just starts. They're in the car singing, going on vacation. We don't need you're tired, you need a vacation.
Right.
We don't need that BS. All we care about is they're going to the cabin that he used to go to as a kid.
Right.
Share with his family. Unannounced, here comes boorish Dan Aykroyd's Roman Craig and his weirdo family. And hilarity ensues. But it's not like a laugh out loud, crazy, slapsticky movie.
No,
it's got those elements, with the bits with the water skiing and the bear, fun bits, but they're all kind of grounded in reality.
Yeah.
I could see the water skiing thing happen.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't so outlandish that it seemed,
I do think it went on a little long because I would have just let go of the rope.
Yes, everybody would.
And then swam back to the shore.
Although he didn't let go because he kept getting steered into boats and things.
That's true. That is true.
It was very dangerous.
That is true.
But I agree with you. I don't understand why they didn't like it. It's a very innocuous movie. But I also think, I was thinking about this yesterday after we watched it. Things have changed so much since the 80s, and especially now where things aren't as quaint and relaxed. I don't know what the word is.
Yeah, everything has an air of intensity to it.
Everything is chaos now.
Yeah.
And people are nervous and anxious and unhappy and all this crap is going on. So I think watching a movie like this is a vacation.
Yeah.
Because there isn't a lot of useless drama. There isn't a lot of superlative garbage.
Right.
It's just a very straightforward, two guys that don't get along, learn to get along.
Yeah.
Family is effed up, but family is family.
Family is family. Yeah.
And things work out in the end. And the beauty, one of the reasons why I love rewatching 80s comedies is because they all ended with a happy ending.
Yeah.
The bad guy always loses. The good guy always wins. The jerk gets their comeuppance.
Yeah.
The nerd gets the girl. Whatever it is, you get. We got the false sense that decency wins out in the 80s.
Yeah.
In this movie.
Yeah, which is not entirely true.
Fun little bit. But it's also, the characters are so well-rounded. Dan Aykroyd could just be a boorish ass.
Yeah.
But
he could have been very 2D.
But he's a great actor, and there's such subtlety. I know saying this in this broad comedy is crazy, but it's true. There's a lot of subtlety to his performance. He and John Candy, and they're very good friends. Known each other for a very long time. Have a great chemistry together.
Yeah.
And it worked for me. It worked. I really enjoyed this movie. Watching it again.
The best example of that is we've all been in that situation where you're sitting next to somebody that is family that you have to be around that you don't really want to be around.
Yep.
And that whole time I could see John Candy just wanting to crawl out of his skin and be like, why in the hell are you here? Like, but I gotta be nice. I gotta be nice.
Because his wife, they're sisters.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, is he's a good dude.
Yeah. And this is what kills me about the end. And this is what I like about the movie and Roman's character, the character of Roman, is that if he wasn't such an ass, he could have just asked. Mm-hmm. And John Candy would have been, or Chet would have been like, of course I'm going to help you. Yeah. You're family.
Right.
You don't have to hoodwink me to get my money.
Well, but he was proud. He was, I guess proud is probably the wrong word. He's
He was a stereotypical investment broker in the 80s.
Yeah.
Everything's cutthroat. I got to go cutthroat.
It was the version of Tech Bro back then.
Thank God that's not true anymore.
Yeah.
Those people don't exist.
They're so much worse now. So much worse. Because they would not have turned around.
No, they wouldn't have.
They would have gone. They would have taken every penny he had.
They would have gotten into his bank account and somehow stolen more money.
Well, we just got the college fund. What about the mortgage?
Yeah. Why don't you sell your house? Yeah.
Oh, God. But yeah, I don't understand the dislike. I thought the kids were great. They're very relatable and normal. Okay. The Craig twins, I don't think that they were actors, let's just say.
No, well, I mean, they weren't. So, I mean, yes.
They've become very successful people, but at the time, they looked kind of dopey, and their eyes were everywhere, and I just felt like they were kind of...
They had the gimmick that they were twins.
Right.
That was it.
And weird twins.
Yeah. They were able to do the weird dead eyes. Yeah.
That was a staple, too, of the 80s, the weirdo twins.
Yeah.
Twins were weird.
Yeah.
And that's not truth, man. Twins are weird.
Unless you're the Doublemint twins. And
Right.
they were hot.
Well, hot and weird.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, let's just get into it because I'll talk about it forever.
Yeah. We got lots to cover. Take yourself back to 1988.
Oh, yeah.
May 28th. Spoilers! The series finale of St. Elsewhere reveals that the entire series was the product of an autistic boy's imagination.
The entire hospital was in a snow globe, Adam, and he looked at the snow globe and he made up the stories in his mind, and that's why Howie Mandel was in it.
That's the only explanation as to why Howie Mandel was in that show.
Oh, it pissed off so many people.
I know.
Half of the people were like, brilliant. Oh, my God, brilliant.
Yeah.
And the other half is like, cop out. What a stupid effing cop out.
How did you feel about it?
I didn't really care. I like St. Elsewhere. I think by that point I was kind of out.
Yeah.
Because it was, I was...
There were so many, especially by the late 80s, there were so many sitcoms that ended and like all these, and most of them you stopped watching a couple seasons ago.
I was in college. I wasn't watching a lot of TV back then, strangely enough.
Right.
I had a life.
I understand.
But I watched St. Elsewhere when it first started out. I mean, St. Elsewhere, Hill Street Blues.
Yeah.
Those were groundbreaking, amazing dramas. Changed both the genre of the medical show and the police procedural. And so many... Denzel Washington started on St. Elsewhere.
Yeah.
So, and the aforementioned Howard Mandel, the greatest performer ever. Oh, God, I hate him. But I don't hate him. I just find him brutally annoying.
Yeah. He's fine. June 6th, Donald Wildman, I'll say Wildman, head of the American Family Association, accuses the Mighty Mouse, The New Adventures episode The Littlest Tramp of depicting cocaine use.
Here I come to save the day.
Oh
my God.
In reality, he misinterpreted the scene out of context, but the controversy eventually led to the series being canceled in October.
Awesome. So great that family council just petered out. It did. Oh, wait.
Yeah, just a small microcosm of what happens at least 10 times a day now. People taking things out of context.
But who effing cares? Shut up. Don't watch the show. Turn it off. Don't have your kids watch it. Quit telling me what I can and can't watch, you busybody wieners.
I'm sorry that I actually understand how a cartoon works.
Ugh, such idiots. What a life, man. Could you imagine being so effed up that you're just myopically watching cartoons and stuff to find any sort of thing? Oh, wait, look, that pinky. No, that was that looked like they were giving the bird, but maybe not.
Well, I would say get a better hobby, but then they just turned to collecting guns.
Well, it isn't even a hobby. It's life's calling, Adam, to save the children.
They need to get a hobby then. June 15th, an F3 tornado strikes 4.4 miles south of downtown Denver, Colorado.
That's weird.
Super weird. There are not very many tornadoes in Colorado.
Not really.
June 17th, The Great Outdoors is released in theaters.
I don't know. It's like that weird doo-wop-y saxophone music.
Close. Yeah, that was better. That was better than the opening.
It's a little Benny Hill.
Yeah, that's the one thing this movie was missing, the Benny Hill theme.
Yeah.
So The Great Outdoors starts with John Hughes and his frustration with Paramount.
Yeah. We all have a frustration with Paramount today.
Yeah, well, yeah. Hughes wrote and directed She's Having a Baby, shooting the film from September of 1986 to December of 1986. Despite the film being in the can and ready for release, Paramount sat on the film for months.
That's so weird.
I don't know why. It was around the time that I think the leadership was changing. So I think they were like, oh, we don't know.
Well, also, to be a little bit fair, She's Having a Baby is an odd John Hughes film.
Yeah.
It's a little more adult.
Yeah.
And people didn't really understand because they're like, where's the teenagers?
Right.
Where's Anthony Michael Hall?
Right.
And it was a weird mix of drama and comedy.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, decent sound. I remember the soundtrack.
Yeah, I know I've seen it. I do not remember anything about this movie.
My favorite part of the movie, and the one part that I remember the best, is they do this quick flashback. They're talking about Kevin Bacon. They do this quick flashback of him in high school. And it's him, but they give him the bangs and everything.
Oh, yeah,
and he looks so... It is the funniest. And just Google She's Having a Baby flashback moment or whatever. We'll end up covering it, but yeah, it wasn't... It was just a weird movie. I don't 100% blame Paramount because I think it was a hard sell. And when it came out, it was a hard sell because it didn't do that great.
Yeah. It was, and I think you hit the nail on the head. It was John Hughes doing a much more adult movie, which I don't think people were quite ready for.
Right. And people were so weird about Kevin Bacon, too.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, is he a star? Is he not a star? We don't know. He should have been a star.
He is a star.
He's a star in my book.
He's a star in my heart.
I love him.
Yeah. Paramount sat on the film for so long that Hughes actually wrote Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and shot it over 85 days starting in February of 1987 and released the film in November of 1987 before She's Having a Baby was released.
Good for him.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles would make almost $50 million from a $15 million budget.
I thought it did better than that.
But it's still good. I mean, they consider it to be a hit.
Well, we forget that back in the 80s, $50 million was a huge... $100 million was a rarity. For movies to cross the $100 million.
Yeah. I remember growing up when movies, like, there was like 3 movies have crossed $100 million, and it was...
like Jaws, Star Wars, and...
and then
Aliens
probably one of the Indiana Jones movies.
Probably,
yeah. She's Having a Baby would eventually be released in February of 1988 and would not make its budget back.
Again, hard sell.
Yeah.
And they also marketed it horribly.
Yeah. Hughes blamed Paramount for the delay and cut off ties with them. I didn't include this, but the funny thing is that Kevin Bacon from She's Having a Baby was actually in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah?
Stealing the cab from Steve Martin. And then at the end of She's Having a Baby, they took so long to shoot it that 3 of the characters from The Great Outdoors are in the closing credits of She's Having a Baby. Yeah.
They should have had Steve Martin steal a cab from him, and She's Having a Baby.
It's John Candy and Dan Aykroyd, and I think the oldest kid are all talking about names for the baby. But he literally shot that before the movie came out, after having already shot a whole other movie.
So insane.
Waiting for that movie to come out. Yeah. Hughes decided to hire his friend and previous collaborator, Howard Deutch, to direct The Great Outdoors.
The Deutch man.
I can't not say his name that way.
Deutch.
Deutch owes his career to John Hughes, as the first feature that Deutch directed was the classic Brat Pack film Pretty in Pink, released in 1986.
Yeah, good move.
I totally forgot that he directed that.
Yeah.
I always just assumed it was John Hughes.
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind, it's John Hughes' movie.
Yeah.
But it was Howard Deutch.
Well, John Hughes didn't direct all of it, or a lot of his movies.
No, he had a lot of scripts that, a lot we've already covered, actually.
I think more than anybody.
Deutch started his career directing music videos, producing videos for the likes of Billy Joel and Billy Idol, and everybody else named Billy.
Yeah.
He would only do videos for people named Billy.
Yeah, he did. Oh, for the longest time. Oh. That's Billy Joel.
Right.
And then he did White Wedding.
It's funny because he didn't do either of those.
Nope.
There was 2 songs I've never heard of, which is why I did not include them. But he did do videos for Billy Ocean and Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins.
Get out of my dreams.
Get into my car.
Get into my car.
That's such an 80s song.
Yeah, baby.
So 80s. He didn't do any of that. I'm sorry. I just made that up.
And then and didn't Billy Ocean also do the song for...
Something about...
Oh, it was not the Nile movie, but the Romancing the Stone.
Romancing the Stone. Yeah. I don't remember what it is.
It might have been Jewel of the Nile because I know that the music video had DeVito and Michael
I think
Douglas.
you're right. I think it was, actually.
was.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway, I guess
the most Billy Ocean has been spoken about in the year 2025.
God rest his soul.
Get out of my dreams, baby. Get into my car. That's my pickup line.
The second film that Deutch would direct was Some Kind of Wonderful, also penned by Hughes. Deutch and Hughes were not happy with the ending of Pretty in Pink. In the script and the original cut of the film, Andy wound up with her best friend Ducky, but test audiences disliked that ending, so a new ending was shot where Andy wound up with Blaine.
Yeah, because everybody thought Ducky was gay. Because Ducky was basically a gay character who wasn't gay. There was a lot of those characters in the 80s because you couldn't technically be gay, but, you know.
Yeah, sure.
And it's just nobody... I don't know, man. And getting with Blaine, too, that's awful. The whole ending of that movie is really problematic.
Well, this is why they didn't like it. So Hughes essentially rewrote Pretty in Pink, but swapped the genders and produced Some Kind of Wonderful.
If you leave, I won't cry. I won't shed one single tear.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen Some Kind of Wonderful.
Well, that song was from Pretty in Pink. It was behind the times. Some Kind of Wonderful. Oh, my God. I remember seeing this in the theater with some friends in high school. And one friend, she was having trouble with our other friend who was her boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And this movie wrecked her.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God. We had to coddle her for hours afterwards. And,
and
it had nothing to do with them either, by the way.
Yeah.
It was basically Pretty in Pink in reverse. You had Eric Stoltz, who, mask, but I don't know who thought he could be like a leading man after
an
that.
Actor? Yeah.
Because he's just like, I'm Eric Stoltz. And I'm the tough guy now. I'm Eric Stoltz.
But so he is in love with Leah Thompson, who's the popular rich girl. And he's a townie or some poor.
Yeah.
And so he spends all of his money, all of his college money, every penny, on a date for Leah Thompson, getting this museum and all this bullshit crap. And he gets some friends with the tough, played by Elias Koteas.
Oh, yeah.
Whom I love. And he's great in this movie. Best part of the whole movie.
I definitely have not seen this.
Ugh, and Craig Sheffer's in it as one of the a-hole. He's the a-hole rich guy that's dating Leah Thompson. And all the time, tomboy Mary Stuart Masterson is in the wings. She's the chauffeur for his super-duper expensive date. Guess who he ends up with? But John Ashton is in it, and he's so good as the father.
I only remember Elias Koteas from playing Casey Jones in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Well, I'm sure he's happy about that.
He was badass in that. It was great.
He's badass in everything. He's a very underrated actor.
So Martha Coolidge was originally hired to direct Some Kind of Wonderful, but wanted to make the film much darker, and Hughes didn't like that, so he fired her and hired Deutch.
Mistake, because if one of those goofball films needed it, it was that. Because it's another one of those superficial class warfare bullshit John Hughes films that is so superficial and so surface that it doesn't touch on any of the real issues. But it was the worst of those movies.
I think that's part of the reason why I've never seen it, because I've not heard good things.
It's worth seeing.
Yeah.
But it's not great.
Right.
It was kind of the beginning of the end of... Because this was like the last teenage movie he did, right? Some Kind of Wonderful?
Yeah. I mean, essentially, yes.
He wore out his welcome.
Yeah. Hughes wanted Molly Ringwald to play the film's lead, but she wanted to take more adult-oriented roles and turned it down.
Yeah, because she doesn't want to play the same goddamn part every time.
Hughes took this extremely personally, and they never worked together again.
Well, he's an asshole. But
yeah.
Why would she be in that movie? It's basically a remake of Pretty in Pink, but she'd be playing the opposite part.
Right.
And the Leah Thompson part is awful. Yeah. It is so superficial, and it is so insulting to women that I don't begrudge Molly Ringwald for wanting to get out of
No,
this
I don't blame her either.
You know, it's like, sorry, dude, she's not your Scorsese.
I think that John Hughes is a little bit of a man baby.
He looks like a man baby. Is he still alive?
No, he's dead.
What do he look like? Now he looks like Skeletor.
Deutch met Leah Thompson while directing this film, and they started dating and got married in 1989, and they have 2 kids now, Madeline and Zoe.
Yeah, Zoe's a very prolific young actor. She's been in a ton of stuff. Very, very good, very pretty. She's pretty awesome.
Good. So they cast Dan.
Not that it matters that she's pretty.
No, but you know. I mean, I would assume she'd be pretty. She's Leah Thompson's daughter. That's, I would hope so.
And they've done stuff together. They're very cute together.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Dan Aykroyd was cast as Roman Craig. Hughes originally wrote the part of Roman Craig for Chevy Chase.
All right.
Which is part of the reason why we talked about Chevy Chase for a while at the beginning of the episode.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Chase had already committed to Funny Farm, which would come out 2 weeks before The Great Outdoors.
Bomb, but I need to watch this again because I haven't seen it since it came out. But I do remember enjoying Funny Farm.
I think I was too young when I saw it the first time, and I haven't seen it since. But I remember kind of being like, "This is weird," but this is like hazy memories from 40 years ago. So like,
It was fine. I really liked the actor that played his wife, but it was a movie. A guy, a city folk, moved to the country so he can write his stupid novel.
They
hate it there. The town hates them. They hate the town, so they concoct this ridiculous scheme to create this perfect town so they could sell their damn house. And then everybody realizes that we want the perfect town and we want to live here.
Yeah.
Ugh,
All right,
now that I think about it,
now I don't need to see Funny Farm.
You really don't.
Hughes then turned to Bill Murray, but Murray was still on hiatus from making movies and never returned his call.
I think he would have been interesting.
He would have been interesting.
He is a good foil. He was great in What About Bob?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it would be the same character. Kind of be the opposite.
Yeah.
But
I could just see him as Bob in this movie. That'd be funny. Anyway.
But it would have probably been kind of like Rushmore, maybe? Or
yeah, I mean, I could see him doing it.
Yeah.
And he's kind of can pull off that slimy, but still have heart.
Did he and Candy ever do anything together? Oh, yeah, Stripes.
Stripes. Yeah. But I think after that, I don't think so.
Huh.
I don't think so.
Together.
Yeah.
He was so good in Stripes. John Candy.
He's so good. Candy then suggested Dan Aykroyd, as Candy and Aykroyd were close friends, having worked on the Blues Brothers together in 1980, which is where Orange Whip comes from.
Whip. Oh, my God. What I can't wait to cover that movie.
I know.
I haven't seen it in so long.
It's been a while, yeah.
Steven Spielberg's actually pretty good in that movie.
Yeah, he is. Aykroyd had an insanely busy 1988, appearing in 3 other movies, technically 4 if you include the end credit scene of She's Having a Baby, which came out shortly after this. Or before this, sorry.
Yeah.
The Couch Trip, co-starring Walter Matthau, Charles Grodin, and Donna Dixon.
And that's his wife. Not a horrible movie. I'd like to see it because I love the cast.
Yeah, I love Walter Matthau and Charles Grodin, and I love Dan Aykroyd. It just sounds kind of weird.
It's another one of those psychiatry movies.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what it was about. There is this weird string of mental institution movies, like the one with Michael Keaton.
That was Michael Keaton at his best, man.
Yeah.
He was so good in that.
But there was the Couch Trip, and there was also that, there's just a ton.
Well, Loose Cannons.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
a couple years later. Yeah. It was just weird. It was weird. It was like, hey, let's...
Crazy people are funny.
Let's exploit the mentally unstable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it was always done with such care and such
Yes.
dignity for the people suffering from
Yes.
mental illness.
Listen to our Loose Cannons episode for an example of how much care it was taken. But again, Dan Aykroyd is best.
Damn, he is brilliant.
So he had a cameo in Caddyshack 2, which was so good.
Oh, I don't have any testicles anymore. Oh, that's my character. This is my horrible voice because it was the worst movie ever made.
He was also in My Stepmother's an Alien, co-starring Kim Basinger, John Lovitz, and Allison Hannigan, directed by Richard Benjamin.
Kind of want to see that again.
I don't remember a lot about it. I know I've seen it. I don't remember a lot about this movie.
I don't either.
I remember Kim Basinger being really weird in it, but beyond that...
Well, because she was an alien.
She was an alien, yeah. But I mean, yeah.
I get that, and Earth Girls Are Easy mixed up for some reason. The Jim Carrey and Damon Wayans.
Sadly, all 3
Jeff
of these...
Goldblum. What a weird trio.
It was a weird movie. Sadly, all 3 of these movies were box office flops. The year after The Great Outdoors, Aykroyd would be in and write Ghostbusters 2.
Nice.
Which we just covered in December, so go back and listen to that. In 1990, Aykroyd would be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for Driving Miss Daisy.
He was so good.
He was so good in that, yeah.
Again, he, like John Candy, is really good playing a normal dude.
Yeah.
I love seeing him in that. And I loved seeing him in My Girl.
Yeah,
and
he was so good.
He was so
It was
good at
heartbreaking.
playing a dad.
Yeah.
It's just a good dude. He also, for all intents and purposes, from what I heard, is just a really sweet man.
Yeah.
He's just on the spectrum.
Yeah. Sadly, he would lose to Denzel Washington for the Best Supporting Actor for Glory.
That's sad for Denzel Washington.
No. He was really great in that movie.
He really was.
It was deserved.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be butthurt for that one.
No. I love Glory. Was one of my favorite movies growing up. It was so good.
It's hilarious.
I was obsessed with the Civil War for some reason. In 1991, Aykroyd would make his feature film directing debut with Nothing But Trouble, co-starring Chevy Chase, John Candy, and Demi Moore. It did so well, it was the only movie that Aykroyd would ever direct.
We have to cover that this year.
Oh, yeah.
We have to.
We got to find a couple weird other movies to go with it.
Well, we'll do another disaster month.
Yeah, oh, God. It was such a weird movie.
Let's do comic disasters this year, because I don't think we've done that.
Aykroyd will be seen in the upcoming Jason Priestley-directed film Keeper of the Cup about 3 Leafs fans who try to steal the Stanley Cup.
That sounds fun.
Also found out, weird rabbit hole, Jason Priestley's been directing for like 30 years. I had no idea.
Good for him.
It's like his 10th feature that he's directed.
Really?
Yeah. It was so bizarre.
In Canada?
No. I mean, not all of them, but he's just done a lot of TV down here. But it was just weird. I was like, oh, it's his feature film debut. And it's like, no, Priestley's been directing features for like 20 years.
That's awesome. For a second, I'm like, I thought he was dead, but that was the other one.
That was the other one. The one of the 2 other guys.
What was his name? Johnny Crawford? Or Johnny Big Booty?
Greco? Wasn't it? No, that was...
Greco's still alive.
Johnny Greco? David Greco? Danny Greco?
Dylan Donaldson.
Dylan Donaldson. Yeah. All right.
He was Donnie 90210. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
It was sad. It was very sad.
He was. I think his last movie was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah. I think you're right, actually.
He's very good in that, too.
Yeah. John Candy was
cast. I could remember his goddamn name.
I know. I just keep thinking of the other guy, Ian something.
Oh, yeah.
Ian Ziering.
I can't believe we remember Ian Ziering, but we can't remember
Ian Ziering because it's spelled Ian, and it's pronounced Ian.
No, he was in those Sharknado movies.
Yeah, his career is just bursting off.
Luke Perry.
Yep, that's not David.
Apologize to the estate of Luke Perry.
Yes.
Luke Perry was a very talented young man.
Yes, it was very sad.
It was. He also popped up on a lot of stuff and did a lot of interesting work towards the end of his career.
He was another guy that every time I heard anything about him, he was such an amazing dude.
Yeah.
Like, people loved him. Yeah. He was a nice, salt-of-the-earth dude, even though he had these matinee star good looks.
Well, yeah. I'm glad we turned it around on Luke Perry and remembered his name and was actually nice to him. Rest in power, brother.
So the cast, John Candy is Chester Chet Ripley. Yeah.
That's who we named our cat after.
Yes. After Summer Rental, Candy appeared in 2 movies the following year. In 1986, Armed and Dangerous, co-starring Eugene Levy, Robert Loggia, and Meg Ryan, barely making its budget back.
Robert Loggia.
We talked about this during some episode. And how it was... because it was written by Ivan Reitman.
Yeah.
And I think it was during the Ghostbusters 2 episode. And how Ivan Reitman was like, take my name off this crap.
Yeah. It was... I believe... Because I've seen this movie.
Yeah.
I believe they were... I believe that they were armored cars.
Yeah, armored car guards, I think.
Guards?
Yeah,
and maybe they were going to rob it, or...
I don't remember. It is a weird movie. I know I've seen it.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything about it.
This is the time where they did the SCTV boys and girls so dirty.
Yeah.
And Eugene Levy was in thankless part after thankless part. He was the most annoying MFer. It is a testament to how talented this man is that he survived the garbage that they made him do.
So much garbage.
Such a talented human being. You look at SCTV, my God, that guy.
Oh, yeah. He's genius.
But always played the douchebag or the moron or the guy with the bang with glasses.
Well, when he finally, was starting to do the improv movies with
Christopher Guest.
like, he really came out. And then of course, obviously
Schitt's
Creek. But yeah, I love Eugene Levy. He's so brilliant.
I mean, I've always loved him. I've loved him since every one of the SCTV people. The reason why I love John Candy and the reason why I love Bob and Doug McKenzie is because I was a devout follower of SCTV.
Yeah.
I liked it more than Saturday Night Live because it was just so cohesive and fun and weird.
Right.
Canadians are weirdos.
They are. They're funny weirdos, but they're weirdos.
But because of that, Martin Short, Eugene Levy, John Candy,
Joe Flaherty.
Joe Flaherty, but that's, and Andrea Martin.
Oh, yeah, Andrea
and
Martin.
Catherine O'Hara. All of those have a huge place in my heart.
Oh, yeah.
They're so talented.
They're all so brilliant.
Amazing.
So brilliant. Yeah. He was
Dave
also...
Thomas, too. And Rick Moranis.
Dave Thomas, the founder of Wendy's.
Bob and Doug McKenzie.
And Rick Moranis, yeah. I always forget. So many of my favorite comedians are Canadian. So in that same year, in '86, Candy also made a cameo in Little Shop of Horrors.
Who did he play in that?
It was a cameo, I don't remember. There was a lot of cameos in that movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you had Steve Martin as the dentist. You had...
There was a lot.
He might have... Was he the patient for the dentist?
Maybe.
I don't know. That was the part that Jack Nicholson played in the original.
Oh, yeah, that's right. 1987 was a very good year for Candy, appearing in two of his most memorable roles. He was in Spaceballs playing Barf. Which we've covered Spaceballs, so listen to that.
Yeah.
And Planes, Trains, and Automobiles as Del Rey with Steve Martin, which we've also covered, so listen to that episode.
I love the name Del Rey.
Del Rey.
Is his name Delbert?
Probably. In 1988, along with The Great Outdoors, Candy was also in Hot to Trot, voicing a horse who gives stock tips, along with Bobcat Goldthwait.
Nope. We are not covering that movie.
We will, eventually.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God, we will. Because it is the weirdest conceit for a movie ever.
God, there's so many of those.
It was so not good.
No.
So I keep trying. Every time it comes up, I literally queue it up, and I just can't bring myself to watch it.
Because that was back when Bobcat Goldthwait was in, the epitome of his awful Bobcat Goldthwait character.
Actually, Hot to Trot would fit really well with Nothing But Trouble.
Yeah. But that wasn't such a big bomb because nobody expected anything from it. But maybe either that or one of the weirdo movie months.
Yeah. He came to The Great Outdoors set with a big beard, figuring it would fit his character, who was a big outdoorsman, but the studio made Candy shave it, fearing audiences would not recognize him or enjoy the look.
Who's that guy? It looks exactly like John Candy with a beard.
Well, so the movie says it has Dan Aykroyd and John Candy in it, and I see Dan Aykroyd, but who's that other guy?
Is that Grizzly Adams?
Did they bring him back to life?
Is that Bart the Bear? Why do they have a bear playing Chet Ripley?
So we'll talk more about John Candy next week.
Yay!
When we cover Only the Lonely.
God, I love him so much. I miss him.
Yeah, same. Stephanie Faracy was cast as Connie Ripley, Chet's wife.
She is so...
She's
just
so
a
good.
bundle of fun. She just seems like she's got the greatest smile, and she is so funny. The scene with her... I have never seen a more realistic... Come on, baby, let's get it going on scene than the two of them.
The accident. Oh, no, I unzipped you. Oh, no.
And then the whole, getting the bra off. And it was just so very... I've never been married, but from what I've gleaned from my married friends, it seems very true to life. True to form.
Yeah. She made her acting debut in an episode of Laverne and Shirley in 1976.
Schlemiel Schlemazel.
She made her feature film debut in 1978 with Warren Beatty in Heaven Can Wait.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Which I still haven't seen.
We'll definitely cover that. Man.
She co-starred alongside Bruce Willis and Kim Basinger in the 1987 film Blind Date.
She played Phil Hartman's wife, and they're the ones in bed where she's like, don't get her drunk.
Right.
She loses control. She loses control completely.
She was also in Scavenger Hunt.
I totally forgot that was her.
She played, Stephanie Faracy,
One of my favorite parts of that movie.
She was so good in that movie, Scavenger Hunt's so good.
Roddy McDowell, Cleavon Little, was the perfect.
That group of
oh my God,
so
the
great.
group of servants. She was so good as the French maid. Oh man, I love her even more now.
She's so good.
Amazing.
She was one of those people that she would pop up in things, and I'd just be like, oh yeah,
just a breath of fresh air, a ray of sunshine.
Yeah. She also had a long career in TV, appearing in
The Last Resort, Goodnight Beantown, The Thornbird, Space Windmills of the Gods, Touched by an Angel, Wings, Murphy Brown, Will and Grace, Frasier, Grey's Anatomy, Ugly Betty, How I Met Your Mother, Castle, Desperate Housewives, Modern Family, How to Get Away with Murder, and The Goldbergs.
She most recently can be seen in Nobody Wants This, the Netflix comedy starring Kristen Bell and Adam Brody.
I think she plays Kristen Bell's mother, if I'm correct.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Annette Bening was cast as Katie Craig, Roman's wife and Connie's younger sister.
Yeah, she talked like this.
Bening made her Broadway debut in 1987 with Coastal Disturbances, garnering a Tony Award nomination for Best Featured Actress in a Play.
Nice.
The Great Outdoors was Bening's feature film debut.
That's crazy.
Which still blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, she came out fully cooked.
Yeah.
Like, there was no learning curve for Annette Bening.
No.
Like, she was, within 2 years, I mean, she was getting nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, she's a great actor.
Yeah. According to locals, where they shot The Great Outdoors, unfortunately, Bening was extremely difficult to work with.
That sucks.
Yeah, that makes me a little sad.
Well, she was young. Maybe she grew out of it. I doubt it because she married Warren Beatty. She's probably extremely privileged now. But she, that sucks.
She's been nominated for 5 Oscars, Best Supporting Actress for The Grifters from 1990, but lost to Whoopi Goldberg for Ghost.
God, The Grifters is such a great Jim Thompson adaptation.
Yeah.
Probably the best.
Yeah.
I mean, the first Getaway is pretty good.
Yeah.
And
trying
then-
to think of. Yeah, I mean, I would.
Then
argue
there's
yes.
the one about the sheriff.
The Killer Inside Me.
The Killer Inside Me, which
Yeah.
is pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's not a great adaptation of the book.
There's a French movie called that was based on Pop 1280 that is really good.
Okay.
And I don't remember what it is.
Ooh la la.
What it's called, but it was set in like French Africa or something. But it's a good adaptation. Yeah.
Fine. Way to pull out an obscure one. Anyway, Grifters was pretty good.
Pop 1280 is my favorite Jim Thompson novel.
It's hard to pick.
Yeah,
That
I
poor
know.
son
He's
of a
so
bitch.
good. I know that poor guy. Yeah.
If you haven't read any Jim Thompson, he is a great noir author. His books are very small. His books are quick reads.
They're easy to read. Yeah.
They've got the most effed up, bizarre, out of nowhere endings of any.
And it's got some pretty effed up, bizarre characters.
Oh my God.
That are you getting into them. I've never seen a better depiction of getting the mind of an insane person than Jim Thompson.
Yeah, well, yes, Jim Thompson and James Ellroy.
Yeah.
The Killer Inside.
Yeah.
I'm reading that right now. That is a great.
I've not read any Elroy. I need to.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know he's really good.
You would love him.
Yeah.
Start with LA Confidential, or I think I've got American Tabloid, which is even better.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check those out. She was also nominated for Best Actress for American Beauty from 1999, but lost to Hilary Swank for Boys Don't Cry.
That movie has not aged well.
Boys Don't Cry?
No. Well, according to some people, that one too, but American Beauty.
No, American Beauty has not aged well. Best Actress, she was nominated for Best Actress for Being Julia from 2004, but lost to Hilary Swank again for $1 Million Baby.
She must hate Hilary
I
Swank.
can just imagine. She just has a little area in her closet where it's like a doll of Hilary Swank.
Right.
She's just stabbing it constantly.
It worked because Swank didn't have much of a career anymore.
No.
Way to go, Annette Bening.
She was nominated for Best Actress for The Kids Are All Right from 2010, but lost to Natalie Portman for Black Swan.
Yeah, that's admirable.
The thing is that all of the people she lost to are all well deserved.
Yes.
And she was most recently nominated for Best Actress for Nyad from 2023, but lost to Emma Stone for Poor Things.
That's the one I don't really agree with.
I haven't seen either of those movies, so I can't judge.
I haven't seen Nyad. I know Diane Nyad was a NPR reporter who swam the channel.
Yeah.
Or swam something. It's a very interesting movie.
Yeah.
I wanted to see it because of her and Jodie Foster. I love both of them.
I think it's still on Peacock.
Yeah.
If you want to watch it. Yeah.
And I thought that Poor Things was visually brilliant, but I thought it was just a like churched up 70s European sex movie.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
Didn't really have any
That's
substance. And
that's
it was,
pretty much it. I'm pretty sure the director was like, "Yeah, I'm making a churched up 70s sex movie."
it just didn't hold a lot of interest
Yeah.
in me. And oh my God, I
Well,
thought
it's a critical darling because all those people are like,
ugh. And who's the guy that plays the Hulk?
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo, who I usually love, who was awful in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
My God, unwatchably awful.
So Annette Bening will next be seen in The Bride, written and directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, which, ironically enough, I was actually supposed to see a sneak preview of last week and didn't go.
Bummer.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting. I like Maggie Gyllenhaal. And
Yeah.
It's about the Bride of Frankenstein?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it looked interesting. So we'll see. But it should be coming out sometime in probably the fall, is my guess.
Nice.
Chris Young was cast as Buckley Buck Ripley, Chet and Connie's older son.
First of all, nobody's naming their child Buckley Ripley. There is absolutely no flow to
John
that name.
Hughes, what is you doing?
Buckley Ripley. That is the worst name ever.
Yeah.
Buck Ripley. That's even
Buck.
worse.
Yeah.
It's a porn star.
He obviously he's like my age. Like somebody born in 1978 is not going to be called Buck.
Buck Ripley. And he didn't look
Just
like a buck.
unbelievable. No, it didn't look like a buck at all.
Come on, man. Come on,
God damn it, John Hughes. Young made his acting debut at age 15 when he was cast as a child prodigy hacker in the TV show Max Headroom that ran for one season in 1987.
That's where I remember him most from.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I love the Max Headroom show.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I've never seen the whole thing.
I mean, I didn't love it. I liked the Max Headroom character. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
But, it wasn't good enough to sustain a show. It was interesting, though.
Obviously not.
It was an interesting concept. They didn't just completely make it,
Yeah.
Pepsi presents.
Right. Young later went on to work at Nickelodeon, first as a producer at the Nickelodeon Animation Studio, and then as executive creative director at the Nickelodeon Animation Lab.
Uh-oh.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Nothing bad
weird
happened.
stuff happened with the Nickelodeons.
In 2017, he was appointed senior vice president in charge of the Nickelodeon Entertainment Lab and ran it until the unit was closed in 2020.
Ah.
His last acting job was in 1999 in Falling Sky, co-starring Brittany Murphy. Despite being released in England in 1999, it wasn't released in the States until 2005.
Okay, weird.
Weird.
Yeah, he was a good guy. He looked very 1980s teen.
Yeah.
I had his sweater that he was wearing in
yeah.
Great Outdoors, and I might have had his haircut. But, he was one of those just, normal-looking regular kids.
He was a handsome kid, and he had a pretty good career for a while.
Both of the kids in this were very grounded, real kids. They acted like real kids, which I really...
Yeah.
I liked. The twins, no, but of course...
Well, yeah, but they were supposed to be weird.
That was the trope.
Yeah.
Twins were always weird.
Yeah.
I blame... I blame Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
And
The Shining.
The Shining for that.
Yeah, it's true.
Way to go, Stanley. You ruined twins.
Lucy Deakins was cast as Cammy, the local girl and A&W waitress.
Yeah, the townie. That was another trope. The townies.
You got to meet with the townie.
Yeah, there were always townies, man.
Deakins,
and I blame you, Breaking Away. That was like the big townie movie.
Deakins made her acting debut in the soap opera As the World Turns in 1984 at the age of 13.
Goodness.
Deakins made her feature film debut in The Boy Who Could Fly in 1986. It co-starred Jay Underwood, Bonnie Bedelia, Fred Savage, Colleen Dewhurst, Fred Gwynn, Janet McLaughlin, and Mindy Cohn.
It was a really good movie. It was based on a short story that I read in I talk about this all the time. For some reason, every short story that I read in high school was turned into a movie in the 80s.
Yeah.
And this one wasn't as good as Stone Boy,
Right.
with our buddy from Explorers. But if I remember correctly, this was a pretty good adaptation.
I just like that it starred Jay Underwood because he also starred in The Invisible Kid, which I just bought a VHS copy of because I could not find it anywhere.
Yeah, Jay Underwood, big star.
Jay Underwood, yeah, big star. Big star in quotes, yeah. In 1988, along with The Great Outdoors, Deakins was also in Little Nikita, starring River Phoenix and Sidney Poitier, directed by Richard Benjamin.
I totally remember that movie.
I did not know Richard Benjamin directed that movie.
I think, if I'm correct, so Sidney Poitier is like an FBI agent.
Yeah.
And Little Nikita is Johnny Deadboy. What's his name?
River Phoenix.
River Phoenix.
Wow.
Oscar overdose. He was, his parents were Russian spies. And I think they were trying to get him to go against his parents. She was the love interest.
I think they were grooming him to be an agent for the KGB, and then they were trying to not. And then, it's been
Judd
a long.
Hirsch played his dad, if I'm correct.
Deakins enrolled in Harvard in 1988. She graduated in 1984 with a degree in comparative religion.
Ugh.
Yeah.
What a waste of a Harvard education.
I'm sure she probably thought she was just going to be an actor the rest of her life, so it was like, I got to get an education. She took time off from acting to backpack across Europe. Her last acting role was on an episode of Law & Order in 2002.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I probably saw it.
In 2007, she graduated from the University of Washington School of Law and is now a practicing attorney in Denver, Colorado, specializing in energy law and then moving to family law and criminal defense.
Nice.
She is a partner in the Denver law firm Dunsing, Deakins, and Galera.
Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
Yeah. But good for her, man. She was like, you know what? I'm going to become a lawyer. Robert Prosky was cast as Wally. Prosky had just come off a successful run in Hill Street Blues, appearing in 54 episodes.
Oh, my God. He was so good.
I love Robert Prosky. We've discussed Prosky in our Loose Cannons and Gremlins 2, the New Batch episodes, so give those a listen for more on Prosky.
I love him. I really think that Gremlins 2 gave him the best part of his career.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
I would agree.
Yeah, Hill Street Blues aside.
Yes.
But a lot of times he would play the gruff weird.
Yeah, just
what he played in this.
Yeah,
kind
just
of
a weird gruff weirdo. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was such a great actor and very nuanced. And one of the reasons why I love Gremlins 2 so much is his performance.
Oh yeah, he's so good. He's so good. Prosky would pass away from complications with heart surgery on December 7th, 2008, at the age of 77.
Also, Andy Prosky, his son, was in the movie in a non-speaking part as the grill chef.
Grill chief.
The grill chief.
All right. Ian Giotti was cast as Benjamin Benny Ripley, Chet and Connie's younger son. Giotti made his feature film debut in Oh God, You Devil in 1984 at the age of 7.
Yeah, me, George Burns, I was playing God, and then I said, what if I also play the devil? And they said, that sounds like a good idea. And then when the box office receipts came in, babbity-boo, not such a good idea.
Yeah. He was,
Roopity-boop.
at that point, he was like 110 years old. I mean,
But still funny as hell.
Yeah.
I will make fun of him, but I will always love.
Sure. Giotti made an appearance in Girls Just Want to Have Fun in 1985, co-starring Sarah Jessica Parker, Shannon Doherty, and Helen Hunt. He would mostly appear on TV during his formative years, making appearances on
Hill Street Blues, The Facts of Life, Highway to Heaven, Saint Elsewhere, Falcon Crest, Santa Barbara, Beverly Hills 90210, Providence, and Undressed.
He stepped away from acting for about 17 years until 2018, where he played a soldier in an episode of SEAL Team.
Yeah, he was a weatherman and also a reporter.
Hillary and Rebecca Gordon were cast as Kara and Mara Craig, the twins.
Good Lord.
Hillary and Rebecca were child models. They only have one other credit, The Mosquito Coast in 1986.
Yeah, playing actual twins again.
Yeah.
But they were Harrison Ford's kids, and they had to be out in the jungle with him the entire time. It's crazy. I want to see that. I love that movie. We're definitely covering it this year. But I'm really curious to see it now, to see what their performance is like in that movie versus this movie. Because in this movie, they were just kind of like looking. They just didn't. They seemed so detached.
Yeah. They definitely look like they didn't want to be there.
No, until the very end, they kind of came alive.
Yeah. I'm not sure what they're doing now, but they haven't acted in a long time. They both appear to be very happy and healthy.
Yeah. And again, kind of being a dick, criticizing kids. They're just
They
kids.
were like 8.
Yeah. So I'm going to back off of that criticism.
So be better, kids.
Just you're not in the scene, kids. You stupid idiots.
Nancy Lenahan was cast as the waitress at Paul Bunyan's Cupboard.
She was one of my favorite characters.
She is an amazing character actor. She made her feature film debut in 1980 with Smokey and the Bandit 2.
Yep.
She's more well known for her TV appearances, showing up in over 100 TV shows, including
Hill Street Blues, Family Ties, The Facts of Life, Fame, The Twilight Zone, Beauty and the Beast, The Tracy Ullman Show, Murphy Brown, Roseanne, The Golden Girls, Seinfeld, Malcolm in the Middle, Everybody Loves Raymond, How I Met Your Mother, Judging Amy, Gilmore Girls, Caroline in the City, Dharma and Greg, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Third Rock from the Sun, ER, Boy Meets World, The Nanny, Quantum Leap, Just Shoot Me, Ally McBeal, That 70s Show, Nip Tuck, The Adventures of Old Christine, The Middle, Blackish, Superstore, Bless This Mess, and Grey's and Brega.
From 2014 to 2019, she had a recurring role as Nancy Ryan in the sitcom Veep. She was very funny in that. And again, Jim, you should watch that.
Yep.
It's a funny show.
Thanks for outing me.
She provided every time now. She provided the speaking and singing voice. This is the weirdest thing about Nancy Linehan. She provided the speaking and singing voice of Helen Henney from Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater restaurants from 1986 to 1991.
Look her up. Once you see a picture of her,
she is.
You'll remember.
You have seen her in something.
Yes,
100%.
And you've probably seen her dozens of times.
Yeah.
And she's always wonderful.
She's so good. She most recently appeared in 2 episodes of The Boys.
Oh yeah. Okay, I remember her.
Which I still haven't seen the newest season yet. So yeah.
Way to go.
Yeah. John Bloom was cast as Jimbo, the chef at Paul Bunyan's Cupboard, who makes sure that Candy eats all of the old 96er.
Yeah, Jimbo.
Bloom is 7 foot 4 inches tall, subjugating him mostly to horror movies.
Yeah.
He is most famous for his roles as the Frankenstein monster in the low-budget horror movie Dracula versus Frankenstein.
Yeah.
He remains the tallest actor to ever portray the character.
Dracula?
No, Frankenstein.
I know.
Yeah, really tall Dracula. He was also the unfortunate recipient in the incredible 2-headed transplant. Which I've never seen, and I feel like we talked about a different movie where the guy got
the one with Rosie Greer,
yeah.
where it's the racist gets the black dude right on his.
Right.
on his shoulder.
Yeah. Other films he was in include
Brain of Blood, The Dark, The Hills Have Eyes Part 2, Bachelor Party, Runaway Train, Harry and the Hendersons, and Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country.
Bloom died of heart failure brought on by his immense height on January 15th, 1999 at the age of 54. Yeah.
Just can't pump the blood around with that heart and that big old
it's
body.
hard. Yeah, it's hard. I did not realize he was 7'4", because, I just assumed in this movie that they always shot him to make him look taller.
Right.
But, man, 7'4" is tall.
Well, they didn't really take advantage of it because it was kind of a tight shot looking up
yeah.
from Candy sitting down.
Just so huge. Although I love that's one of my favorite moments in the whole scene, where he's just barely finishing it, and he's like, "You're not done yet."
Gotta eat that gristle and fat.
And just John Candy's just, no.
I got the meat sweats just watching that scene.
Exactly. Louis Arquette was cast as Herm, the bartender. Herm. Arquette is a character actor and father to Rosanna, Patricia, Alexis, and David Arquette, as well as former father-in-law of Courtney Cox, film composer James Newton Howard, Thomas Jane, and Nicolas Cage.
That's my father-in-law.
The guy is fascinating. We talked about him more in Tango and Cash, so give that a listen. He's appeared in 144 movies and TV shows, and he also became a very prolific voiceover actor.
Yeah? Is he alive?
Ton of stuff. No, he did not. He is not.
He did not.
He did not. He did not alive. He died in Los Angeles on February 10th, 2001 at the age of 65 due to congestive heart failure.
Damn, that's young.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, those poor kids.
Britt Leach was cast as Reg, the man who has been struck by lightning 66 times.
He is such a great character actor, by the way.
Leach's most memorable movie roles include Boris Hick bartender Dan Oldham in Jackson County Jail in 1976, which I've never seen.
I don't think I've seen that either.
Hard-nosed Detective Sergeant Cook in Night Warning, also known as Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker in 1981.
Okay.
Which we've talked about before. It had one of the younger actors was in it that we've talked about, but I just love the title, Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's so good. He was also the cranky toy store manager Mr. Sims in Silent Night, Deadly Night in 1984.
Right.
Such a good horror movie. Trailer Park resident Mr. Potter in The Last Starfighter, also in 1984.
I love that movie so much. I love that movie so...
The Last Starfighter?
So much, yes.
Really?
Oh, my God, yeah.
We've talked about it before. I don't remember you being this passionate about it.
Well, as a child, loving video games and space movies and Robert Preston... that movie is so good.
It's a great movie. Yeah.
They would, anytime it would rain when I went to the crappy public school, San Pasquale, for a year, anytime it would rain, they would trot that movie out and we would watch it.
Oh, really?
But it is such a... We have to cover that movie.
Oh, we will.
But it is such an amazing wish fulfillment movie for me at the time.
Totally.
You're playing a video game and all of a sudden you're tapped to save the universe?
Yeah.
It was all a test and you're the best?
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Sorry. Passionate.
He also played Anthony Michael Hall's plumber father in Weird Science in 1985.
That's what I remember him most from.
I have literally never connected the dad from Weird Science and the guy that gets hit by lightning in this movie. I don't know why, but I've never realized they were the same person.
He's our son, Wyatt.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember him.
He's so good.
He's like,
Dad, look at him. Look at the picture.
Who? No, I don't know.
It's so good. God, it's so good. Some of his TV appearances include
The Brady Bunch, The Partridge Family, Insight, Bonanza, Hawkins, Three's Company, Tales from the Crypt, and A New Heart.
Fun fact, Leach shared an apartment with Ray Manzarek and Jim Morrison of The Doors for a while.
Drugs.
Yeah.
He got struck by lightning that time, baby.
Weirdly enough, Leach left acting in the early 1990s.
Huh.
His final film role was an uncredited appearance in the 1991 film Father the Bride, in which his character, a supermarket assistant manager, confronts Steve Martin's character for making a scene in the supermarket and has him imprisoned for it.
Imprisoned?
Yes, imprisoned.
A very dramatic way of saying that.
Yes. From 1992 to 1999, Leach was co-editor and publisher of Country Connections, an award-winning bi-monthly magazine which covered environmental and progressive social issues.
Good for him.
He also wrote poems. He was a poet.
Nice.
In 2007, Leach did not renew his membership in the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and wrote of his frustration with DVD screeners in a satirical piece on his website.
I love him.
Leach still currently resides in Sherman Oaks with his wife, Catherine Roberts Leach.
Call us.
I part of me really wants to find him just to be like, he sounds so fascinating.
We need to have dinner with him.
Yeah.
So, Britt, if you're listening,
Yeah.
we'll take you to dinner. We will take you and your wife to dinner.
I just want to know what he's been up to.
I'm going to have a coupon, and it's going to have to be someplace that we can afford, but we will take you and your wife to dinner.
Bart the Bear was cast as Jody the bald-headed bear, a grizzly bear who lost her fur on top of its head during a previous encounter with Chet.
Oh, Bart the Bear. Such a
Bart.
big old star in the 80s.
He was. Bart was born on January 19th, 1977 at the Baltimore Zoo. After reaching adulthood, he made his film debut in the film Windwalker in 1981.
Oh, yeah.
He grew to 9 foot 7.5 inches tall.
That thing was a monster.
Huge. Weighed 1,500 pounds throughout his life as an adult. The funny thing is they talk about how in the movie he was like, it was 8 feet tall. And it was like, no, man, he was almost 10 feet tall. His biggest movie was his starring role in The Bear in 1988, where he was essentially the main character.
Oh, my God. If you read about the bear, he was such a diva. Imported honey and berries from Morocco.
Well, it was because they cast the little cub, and he was afraid that they were going to show too much of the cub.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know what, guys? I got big black claws.
He was such a diva.
I'm going to claw your face off.
Effing Bart.
Yeah. His other films include
Benji the Hunted, White Fang, Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey on Deadly Ground, Legends of the Fall, 12 Monkeys, Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco, The Edge, and Meet the Deedles.
Yeah, he worked with, I should have included the list, but he worked with some of the biggest stars in the 80s.
The Edge is an extremely underrated action movie.
It is. It's really good.
David Mamet action movie.
Weird.
Yes.
I did not realize that was David Mamet.
Mamet
Wow.
wrote that, starring Jack Donaghy. Alec Baldwin.
I love that. Well, I mean, it makes sense. I'm sure he was probably dipping his toes in the idea of not having to work with human actors anymore.
Alec Baldwin is so good in that movie playing that part. Don't take this the wrong way, Alec Baldwin, but for some reason, that character seems like the most closest to who you are to me.
Yeah.
I love him, though.
In October 1998, Bart was diagnosed with cancer and later underwent surgery twice to remove tumors from his right paw.
Jesus Christ. We even have to do cancer with the animals now?
Yeah. The cancer returned, however, taking away his strength and appetite and causing him to not want to take pain medication.
Oh.
So sadly, they had to put him down on May 10th, 2000 at the age of 23. Yeah.
How long do bears usually live?
I think around 30. I think like 30, 35. If I remember correctly. Might be a little less than that.
So sad.
Yeah. Cancer sucks. Cancer sucks more when it's animals because they're animals.
They don't know what's going on. Everything's worse when it's animals because they're innocent little babies.
Yeah. A very dog I'm very close to has possibly might have cancer again. Yeah, it's the same thing. Had something in the paw, had to remove part of his paw, and it was gone for a good 3 years, and now they think it might be coming back.
Yeah.
It just sucks, man.
It really does.
Sucks. At the time of his death, he was filming the television documentary Growing Up Grizzly, released in 2001, which was narrated by Brad Pitt, who appeared with Bart in Legends of the Fall.
I remember working with Bart on Legends of the Fall. I had really long hair at the time. People thought I was really sexy. But the hair got in the way. Bart grabbed it, almost ripped my skull off, but did I get mad at him? No, because he's a bear.
It's probably the worst Brad Pitt I've ever heard.
That was a quote from the movie.
It was a quote from the movie. Your impersonation was
Brad sounded
so
a lot
spot on.
different back before he stopped smoking.
Right. So the film was shot on location in Bass Lake, California, a small resort town near Sierra National Forest, over 3 weeks in October of 1987, where it portrayed the fictional lake Potawatomi. Wow.
Minimac.
Yeah.
Potawatomi.
Potawatomi.
The first time in history and the only time where California stood in for Canada instead of Canada standing in for California.
Wisconsin. It was supposed to be Wisconsin.
They mentioned Canada 3 times in the movie.
I know, but it was supposed to be Wisconsin.
Well, then John Hughes is a horrible writer because they keep talking about being in Canada.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Confusing. Now I hate this movie.
Ducey's Bass Lake Lodge, a rustic 1940s resort, was featured as Wally and Juanita's Perks Pine Lodge Resort.
Yeah.
The lakeside restaurant used in the movie was Ducey's Bar and Grill, which burned to the ground shortly after filming due to a gas fire.
Quoties, it was actually Bart the Bear during a tantrum.
Knocked over a lamp, and then it just all went up.
He was smoking hash.
Yeah, well, it was dark days for Bart the Bear.
Yeah.
The rebuilt restaurant today has posters and memorabilia from the film hanging on its walls. The A&W restaurant where Cammy works never actually existed in Bass Lake.
They don't exist at all anymore.
No, they're still around.
Really? Where?
I believe I've seen some in Arizona. There's some, if you go to Inland Empire, there's some in there.
Nice.
They're still
I did not
around.
know that.
They converted an ice cream shop for the shoot and then promptly took all the A&W stuff down as soon as the movie was over. Because apparently Ducey's Bass Lake Lodge does not like any kind of brand recognition.
They don't like corporate, baby.
Yeah.
They like to keep themselves free.
The Loon's Nest vacation cabin built on the back lot at Universal Studios was designed to match the style of Ducey's existing cabins.
Cool.
It was recently moved from the backlot lake location for construction of newer sets, but you can still see it on the Universal Backlot Tour.
Yeah, you can.
It's around. But they literally, rather than tearing it down, and good for Universal, they moved the entire thing. I'm assuming because they're probably still going to use it.
Maybe. Well, yeah, they use a lot of that stuff. I mean, it's not as iconic as the Psycho House, of course.
No, but every time I went on for the last 30 years, every time I went on the Universal Backlot, I was like, oh my God, it's the cabin from Great Outdoors.
Exactly.
It's such a cool looking cabin. The film was shot under the working title Big Country, but was changed to avoid confusion with Big, which was due to come out at the same time.
They were going to use In the Big Country. Oh, that's two different songs.
It was an improv mashup. Good job.
It was improv mashup of Big Country and some Talking Head song that I creeped in there somehow.
In the original John Hughes script, Roman's redemption came through a daring rescue of his twin girls who had caught a giant fish that towed them around the lake in a small rowboat.
I'm really glad that wasn't the case.
Mechanical fish was built for the film, but it wouldn't work properly, so the script was rewritten around the legend of the bald-headed bear and the chase in the final act.
Which was a lot more satisfying. It was fun.
It made so much more sense. And in fact, they also, according to some sources, when Roman goes down and finds the twins, he finds a stash of gold, and it solves all his financial problems, and he ends up buying the cabin. And then, very similarly to how it ended with Candy realizing that Roman was going to be at his house.
Yeah.
Like, the shot was Candy behind him, where Roman was like, I'm going to buy the cabin, and then we're going to come here every summer. And you can see Candy behind him going, no. But they cut it all out.
Good.
Because that would not have been a good comeuppance for the character to learn anything.
Well, it also would have been betrayed the kind of, bear stuff aside, the kind of realistic grounding of the film.
Yeah.
And you're right. And the complete growth of the character.
Yeah, it would have negated all of that. Because
it'd
at
be
the
like,
end of the day, money would have won.
Bad guys win!
Yeah. So the film grossed over $6.1 million in its opening weekend and ended up with a worldwide gross of over $43.4 million.
That is not bad.
No, it did good. The critics were not kind to the movie. In her review in the New York Times, Janet Maslin reported that the film did not have enough collective energy to light a campfire.
F you.
Wah, wah. Roger Ebert gave it 1 star and called it
a big nothing of a movie that's just lame.
Yeah.
You're just lame, Chubbs.
I just don't. This seems like the kind of movie that he would be into.
I
Like, it was just popcorn. Like, just go watch it and enjoy it.
At the time, there were so many comedies.
That's true. That is true.
We are in a dearth of comedic movies now. We are in a drought of good comedy.
It's because nothing's funny anymore, Jim.
Please, don't get me started. But back then, there were 2-3 comedies every week.
Yeah.
Those were comedies, and horror movies were the big old money makers because they were cheap to make, and you get somebody like Candy or Aykroyd. You have these stars, regardless of the material, that could bring in butts to the seats.
Yeah.
And so there was so much competition. So I get back then it may have been subpar compared to Ghostbusters and all the things coming out.
Right.
But as we were talking about yesterday, it's just a quaint, fun, realistic-ish, zany comedy.
Yeah, I mean, it has some goofy moments, but like it's relatable and it's fun.
And it's relaxed. These relaxed, stress-free comedies are exactly what we need today.
Yeah.
Stress-free, fun little comedies where we know things are going to work out in the end.
Yeah.
And we can have just a respite from reality.
Yeah. The film found its audience when it went into home video, even though it made money, and I'm sure that Paramount or Universal was like, hey, we made a bunch of money off this movie. But it became a cult classic after being released on home video, did very, very well. In April of 2017, Universal Pictures announced that a reboot of the film starring Kevin Hart and produced by Michael DeLuca was in development.
Yeah, that was back when everything legally had to have Kevin Hart in it.
It was pretty much every movie we covered the 80s is somehow being remade with Kevin Hart.
Or
starring
was.
it. Yeah.
Until his star started to fade.
Yeah. In November 2021 interview with a Hollywood Reporter, Aykroyd said that he was working on a sequel with Deutch titled The Great Outlaws that would...
Bring back Roman as a Ponzi scheme guy who victimizes a federal agent.
He's still looking for someone to fill Candy's shoes.
Yeah, good effing luck, man. There's nobody that's going to fill Candy's shoes.
And I'm guessing that's part of the reason why this just isn't going to work. It just isn't going to happen.
If you're going to do it, get somebody young to play Buck.
Yeah.
And do it with Buck. And Ben,
Yeah,
have it
yeah.
with the kids.
Yeah.
And you could have anybody play those. You get Pete Davidson to play Buck. You get, actually Pete Davidson would be pretty cool as Ben. You get him playing Ben, and you get somebody who's Buck, and then, then you make it a generational thing. You bring back the twins, you get,
Oh, you know who you play Buck? Pedro Pascal.
Because you have to be in everything.
Yes. I just got a phone call, and they said it has to be Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, they as soon as they got rid of, as soon as they stopped making the law be that everything has to have Kevin Hart.
Yeah,
they make it now. It's Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal has to be in it. Yeah,
I enjoy Pedro Pascal, but I'm getting a little tired of him.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not as excited for his work anymore. But anyway, regardless,
this isn't about Pedro Pascal.
No, this is about the Great Outdoors and John Candy. And this is just a fun movie. It's on Amazon Prime right now. It'll be on through the end of the month. So watch it. It is a good movie. It's a good Sunday afternoon.
Again,
movie.
yes, a perfect Sunday. An amazing double feature. If you want to go on a quick vacation with a really sweet man, go watch Summer Rental and Great Outdoors. It's a great double feature.
It is. It really is.
Very relaxing. You're going to have fun. You're going to see some great actors. You're going to have a good time. You're going to feel relaxed. You're going to feel happy.
Yeah.
Good guys win. Bad guys change. Bears get butts. It's bear butts. Butts, bear, butts, bear.
So many good scenes and lines in this movie.
Yeah.
Like when he comes running in, he's bear, big bear chase me, big bear chase me. Like it's so I've done that so many times.
Oh, yeah.
Like
when
it's so good.
They get up and then they're up super early fishing, so they all fall asleep and they're fishing with leeches. And they wake up with leeches all over them. And it was hilarious. A leech was on Dan Aykroyd's eye.
It was
gross.
so weird.
But it's
just such a fun movie.
Very fun and very much like going on vacation in the 80s.
Yeah.
You have your summer love affair. You got your weird twins.
You got the weird family that you don't really want to hang out with, but then you find out that you have those moments where it's like, oh, actually, this is really fun.
The whole bat scene is hilarious.
Oh, the bat scene's great.
It's a very good movie, and it's another one of. Fortunately, is another movie that has aged very well.
Yeah.
And I think over time has become a much better movie than it was when it was released.
I agree.
And I can't recommend it enough. And this month is completely redefining my love of John Candy.
Yeah.
I want to watch everything that he's in, but more so I want to watch everything that he's in playing the sweet guy.
Yeah. There's definitely, it makes me want to go back and watch a bunch of his movies I've not seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Like Who's Harry Crumb and Armed and Dangerous. Like all these movies that I'm like.
Delirious.
I mean, these are movies that they might be better than I remember. I don't know.
Wagons Ho?
Wagons East.
Wagons East Ho?
Which is not a good movie.
Yeah, it's not. Wasn't that with Chandler?
Matthew Perry?
Matthew Perry.
Maybe?
I'm pretty sure. No. Matthew Perry didn't kill John Candy. He killed Chris Farley.
Oh, okay.
He was in Chris Farley's last movie. Which was another weird kind of... When they playing Lewis and Clark.
It's really interesting watching you get there.
Get there?
Maybe? That sounds familiar.
And Eugene Levy was in it, and he was like the cross-eyed guide.
Yeah.
Or something.
I don't remember now. Maybe I'm thinking. No. Anyway,
But I don't remember Wagons Ho.
Wagons East.
Wagons East.
You will never remember Wagons East.
I remember how incredibly heavy John Candy was in that movie.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
my God. I mean, the heaviest I think he's ever been.
Yeah, because he's not. I mean, in this movie, and especially Summer Rental, I mean, and granted, he was a little younger, but he's only 10 years younger, but he's not a very big guy.
No, and in SCTV, he was not a big. He was a little bit bigger. He was John Belushi big.
Yeah,
which was chubby.
Yeah, he was a little puffy, a little chubby, but he was husky.
He was husky.
I was husky when I was growing up.
But he ate his feelings. The guy had issues, and instead of spewing his issues on everybody else, he ate them.
Right.
And was a sweet man. And unfortunately, he needed therapy, or he needed. He tried it all, though.
He did.
He really, really struggled and tried to lose weight. He was the best of Hollywood. He was the best. And men like him, women like him, are very few and far between in this business. And they usually either die young or leave. Because it is not a fun place to be a lot of the time.
No, it is. It's not a good place for good people.
No.
Unfortunately. But anyway, we'll be back next week. We're going to cover Only the Lonely, which I'm very excited about because I have never seen it.
I am so excited to watch this movie. The reason why I suggested the Sweet Candy month to begin with was I watched an old Carson with Candy and Maureen O'Hara promoting this film.
Right.
And it just hit something in me about how much I just loved John Candy playing everyman.
Yeah.
John Candy as a regular human being, there's nobody better. Being a sensitive, sweet, relatable, put upon, but ultimately awesome human being.
Yeah.
Bart the Bear's coming, roar!
Big bear.
Big bear,
Big bear chase. Big bear chase me. Actually, Aykroyd has
Benji the Hunted, White Fang, Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey, On Deadly Ground, Legends of the Fall.
Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey. That's all one title.
Okay, let's just start that over.
That's how colons work.
Ben.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming, The $6 Billion Man, already in progress.